The real tragic news that we have received, KK, the very famous playback singer who's lost his life. Very unfortunate. India Today continues this coverage while we bring voices together, giving out condolences to this stellar musician. We have Lesle Lewis joining us right here on India Today, who's a music composer, has worked with a number of songs when it comes to KK, and the kind of team that they were, really a magical duo indeed. Lesle Lewis, thank you very much and appreciate your time. Today, I'd let you speak. How would you look at this loss to you personally, I know, and to the film industry? To us, it is so personal. We can't get over every track that we are playing on our screens. I'm sure resonates across age groups. Literally, I know the lyrics to almost all the songs. And that's the sentiment that most of our newsroom share.
Yeah, hi. I'm really shocked because last night when I heard, I was completely kind of poleaxed, and I said, what happened? And because maybe you know or you don't know, KK has been my baby right from the beginning. I launched his career. I got him his first record deal. I made sure that he got out there to the public, and I composed the songs that you're playing now, which is Yaro Dosti and Pal. And I think I was very close to him when he started off his career. And a very special moment that we had when he said, I used to always dream that one day you'll make my album. And when that album got released, Pal, he came to me and said, Leslie, I've always dreamt that you'll make my album, and today you made my dream come true. And that's been a very special moment, for KK and me, and such a wonderful singer and gone too soon.
You spoke about that song, Pal, and even Yaro Dosti is something that you work with him on. Give us your experience, Lesle. And I don't know if this is the right moment to ask you to sing maybe a line or two just as tribute.
Not a good time to sing. Not a good time to sing. But yeah, I mean, he's a young artist, and Hariharan heard him somewhere and then called me up and said, "Bahut acha singer hai, should I send him to you?" And so I said, yeah, send him. And he came over and I saw him. He just had this great persona. A wonderful voice, and more importantly, a great human being, great person, really lovely, happy guy. And he has all the makings of a rock star. You knew it. And he wanted me to do his album, and he waited. But in that time, I got him to do jingles for me. He started singing jingles, started singing around. People got to know about him. And then he waited. And then he got a chance to do an album with some unknown record label. He came to me and asked me, what do you think, Leslie? Should I do this? I said, no, wait for a proper label to sign you. And he waited for a long time till I took all the jingles that he had sung, put them together. I took them to Sony Music and I said, listen to this voice. He's a great singer. Why don't you sign him? And they all loved it. And they said, yeah, sure. And they said, fine, you do the album. And that's how Pal happened, and that's how Yaro Dosti happened. And the rest is history.
Hey, when specifically mentioning those tracks, those are tracks that have now become anthems. Decades later, generations later, it still sticks as the go-to song if you have a college farewell or anything to do with friendship, with love. KK's music really is timeless, if I can call it. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Anthems
Absolutely.
As such.
Yeah, it's really strange because, I see 15-year-old kids today singing Yaro Dosti and Pal, and I'm saying, what's happening? They're still doing it. In fact, the strangest thing I find is Pal brought KK to you, and Pal took him away.
Do elaborate on that, Lesle Lewis, because we know that he sang that song on that stage at that concert where he was asked to sing it one more time, and then he refused because he said he was feeling slightly uneasy. He didn't oblige, and then he post the concert, they rushed him out, went to the hospital. He first went to his hotel, that's where he collapsed, we believe, and then the hospital declared him brought dead. So was KK ever a man to say no to a song? To sing a song at that moment when he's been requested by a huge crowd? He had 4 concerts back to back, and he completed all those 4 concerts, and this happened right towards the end.
Yeah, but he's not that. He's the people's artist. He loves to sing. So if there was that audience asking for one more, he would have. That's not. It's not like KK to say, okay, I'll just sing once and I won't sing it again. So yeah, he must have been definitely something, going wrong. I mean, I really don't know the backdrop, but I just find it really strange that he debuted with the song. His whole career debuted with Pal, and again it was Pal, that's the last song he sang. And now that you played it on your channel, I'm playing guitar on all those songs. Yaro Dosti, on Pal, it's me playing guitar. So now I'm hearing that guitar louder than I've ever heard it before. It's really sad, but yeah, I miss him. I mean, I'm going to miss him for a long time because that kind of voice and that kind of a natural singer, I don't think you find so many. And I think that's why he reaches everybody's hearts. Listen to all his film songs that he sung. Listen to Yaro Dosti, listen to Pal. It hits your heart, and that's the voice of KK.
And that truly shows his versatility. He sang such an array of songs in different versions, and gosh, he lasted as a musician for so long in the film industry, which is highly competitive. We want to hear from you the kind of compassion that he had when it came to music, when it came to new artists, or grooming budding talent for that matter. We know he's judged a lot of events. Even Arijit was his selection from one of those reality shows. So he not just got a lot from the industry, but also gave a lot to the industry.
Absolutely. I think KK was always a musician at heart. He always kind of moved towards wherever the music was there. Then KK wanted to be there. He wanted to be there. He wanted to sing. And because he's a balladeer, he can sing a romantic song and take it straight to your heart. And I'm not just saying it in Hindi. Even the rock songs that he sang before he became a Bollywood singer, and that him always looking at other talent and recognizing talent, because talent is talent. He was that at one time, and it's he would look at young talent to say, hey, okay, like me, you should also get a break, because I really think you're good. And I think he always favorited when there was good music, and he was about the music. And I think that's why we both got on really well, because it was always about the music.
And when you say that, he was someone who took risks when it came to his music. He had such an array of work that he could boast of, all the way from your love songs to something that was all-out party music, where you could shake a leg, dance to it entirely. So he could really shift from version to version with so much ease, and that showed for a musician who took risks. How would you look at that aspect of KK's career at this point?
I think KK was always a natural singer. So for him, it was about the song. And because he was a versatile and talented musician, I think he could handle a rock song, a rocking song, let's put it that way. He could handle a rocking song. He could handle a straight ahead, just happy-go-lucky kind of song, or he could handle a love ballad or a romantic song with equal ease. And just primarily because he loved to sing. And he was never a hustler. He was never a guy trying to get as much work as possible. He always wanted to love the song that he sang. So I think every time he got a song, he really got into it. He wanted to learn the song properly. I spent a lot of time with him at home, quote unquote, teaching him how to sing Pulse, because I wanted him to sing it in a certain way. And in those days, it was never about collaboration. It was all about music director, and there was a singer, and there was a lyric writer, and that was Mehboob. And he wanted to learn the song. So he'd come home, he'd sit down, and I'd play the guitar, and he'd sing it, and it's not like this, like that. And once he picked it up, then he made it completely his own. And that's exactly what I wanted him to do. And today, when you hear a Pal or Yaro Dosti, it's because he's taken the song and he's added his own emotion to it. And that's why it reaches your heart.
The number of songs that we listen to today as part of KK's long list of hits. One can't imagine for a voice like KK's or a musician like KK, he actually managed to give out multiple hits, which is very rare for a musician in the industry. Just possibly a handful of playback singers have got this kind of fame, and somehow that never got to KK. Because from what we hear, various voices like you as well, he was such a grounded man, always willing to deliver, always at the forefront when it came to his music, and even for that matter to create an ecosystem. Tell us a little bit about the person that he was personally, KK, the man that he was behind cameras.
Behind cameras, he ran home. He finished a song. He loves his wife. He loves his family. He's a complete family guy. So he was very happy being at home. So once he finished singing, and he was not the kind of guy, party animal. He was not the kind of guy who would hang out late nights unnecessarily. And that's always been KK, not now, right from the beginning. He loves his wife. He loves his family. He loves being with them. And this is something I've seen, not now. He was always like that, and he's just a wonderful guy. And every moment he spent with you, it was real. It wasn't fake. It wasn't about, talking about this or talking about that. It was about enjoying life. And I think he's a very personal guy, very family-oriented personal guy. And I think that's always been KK.
And as you stress on the fact that he's not a party guy, does not stay late nights, a lot of questions on him dying too young. At 53, a heart attack. Could he have had the right choice when it comes to his lifestyle itself? Would you want to shed light on that? What kind of lifestyle did he lead?
Well, right now I don't know what exactly he was doing.
Go on, Mr. Lewis. Apologies.
Yeah, I mean, right now, like I met KK before COVID hit us. When I did the start off of the F1 race course in Delhi, and I got him to sing Janaganam with me, with Daler Mehndi, with Lucky Ali. All four of us sang a rock Janaganamana and flagged off the F1 race. After that, I met him once in an Apple storeroom, and we both bumped into each other. And he was the same KK, that I knew years ago. And I don't think fame or anything really got to him because he's a shy guy. He's not a public figure. He was never a public figure. He's just loved to be by himself, do his own thing. And so that was the last time I met him. Unfortunately, because he's been traveling with his gigs and I've been traveling with my gigs, we've never really got to bump into each other. But yeah, like we call it, rock and roll.
Mr. Lewis, at this point, when we see KK and the kind of performances that he gave out, particularly at that Kolkata venue, there's a lot of talk on how that venue itself could have been super claustrophobic because of the kind of audience there, huge crowds, and he often complained of heat. Give us an understanding into the challenges that an artist face or people who perform just like you, who face on stage when there's a huge crowd, barely any ventilation, and the heat is mounting. Is it easy to deliver with such perfection? Because it's also pressure on you to look, to give your best, to give out your best presentation on stage in front of a huge expecting audience. A few challenges while you're performing in front of a large crowd at a concert venue.
I can totally understand the lack of air conditioning because when it gets hot, it gets difficult to breathe, and if it's very claustrophobic, it gets worse. And on stage, when you're trying to sing, you need air. Without air, you can't sing. You have to fill your lungs to be able to sing it out. And if the place is not allowing you to do that, it's happened to me a couple of times where you're nearly blacking out, and because there's no air and you're but you know that the audience is watching you and you don't want to let it go, because you try your best to just be normal, and you're really working over. So I know your lungs, your heart, everything works overtime at a time like that. And I could well imagine what he must have felt, in a time like what happened at the venue. And it's not fun, trust me. And it's just sad that it went over the top for him. But these situations do happen, and it's not fun for the artist. It's really hard for the artist to be themselves and be natural and sing naturally when there is not enough air conditioning, and it just gets hot and humid and you blocked. Your lungs get blocked. So that's really sad what I heard about.
Yeah, but what's unfortunate, we're really hoping if now it's futile to really try and ponder on what could have happened or what they should have done. But had they possibly moved him to a hospital when he was feeling uneasy right from that venue post the concert, we possibly could have seen him alive. Do you think that was a error in judgment?
I'm no one to judge that. I wasn't even there. I don't know. So I'm not hard for me to say anything. Yeah. But the situation, like you said, with the air conditioning not working properly, with it being claustrophobic and it being really hot, it's very, very hard for any artist to perform.
Right. Mr. Lewis, as we bid farewell to KK today, your last message for him right here on India Today.
I've got the same message for him always. Rock and roll, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lesle Lewis, for joining us. Lesle Lewis, one musician, a music composer who composed music for KK all along his initial years of his career. Many of those iconic tracks, both of them have worked together on. Clearly, the industry today, heartbroken, feeling so sorry for what has happened. Lesle Lewis's family has just about arrived in Kolkata. The identification process is currently underway, and post their go-ahead, the post-mortem will be carried out. But these are last images of the concert where he gave such a super performance. All right, let me cut across to Mamata Banerjee, Kolkata Chief Minister, who is just about speaking. She's in fact, there's a lot of talk about why that concert did not have adequate ventilation. In fact, images shown how organizers had sprayed fire extinguishers on overwhelming crowds because of the kind of large turnout that possibly the stadium could not fit. We saw how fire extinguishers were used by the management, the organizers, to try and chase away those fans at that point. All right, I'm going to quickly cut across to Shilpa Rao. Shilpa Rao is a co-singer to KK. She sang this very lovely song a few years ago with KK as a... Shilpa, today we're short of words to what to say to a man at 53, gone too early. He had such a huge body of work. One can't imagine what the family is going through. How would you remember him today?
I remember him for the most dedicated musician, but even more a very, very fantastic human being. He was someone who was a very private person, who would work so beautifully and then go back home and spend time with his family. I feel we've lost a great thinker, a great philosopher, a great human being. I can't accept it right now, to be honest, that he's not here with us.
This was the same question that I also put forth to Lesle Lewis. He was joining us right before this. Shilpa, do you believe that there's immense pressure and stress on artists while they perform on stage? Because we know Lesle Lewis was complaining of excessive heat. It appears right post the concert that he was rushed to his hotel because he was feeling uneasy, and then he was moved. That's where he collapsed, and then he was moved to the hospital where he was brought dead. But the kind of challenges that artists really usually face on a stage with overwhelming crowds, the heat is unbearable. Despite all ventilation and ACs, it's not easy for you to really be natural and deliver your natural performance. Please take us through your challenges.
Well, I do not know what sort of a setup was there at that point to comment on that, but I guess through years of working, there is one aspect of the work that I feel should be corrected, is that nothing is worth it at the cost of your health. If you're not feeling well, I think it's the right time to stop at that point and make it known that you're not feeling well. One thing that I would mention is that during COVID, this was sort of normalized, that if you were not feeling well, you don't have to come in to do this recording or to do this project. We could do it later. I think it's high time that all of us, be it in any vocation, adapt this, that there's nothing that you can do or achieve at the cost of your health. Especially, you need to think of your family if something would have happened to you. So I think these are some changes that we need to implement at every level. I feel that this is very necessary. Yes.
Right. Shilpa, we see this song, Khuda Jaane. If I can ask my team to play that up on air, on our screens. Khuda Jaane, you're the female co-artist, the co-singer there for that music, and it became such a raging hit at that point, even till today. Share your experience of how you managed to work with KK at that point. Were you looking up to him as an icon already? He was clearly an established singer. For you, your feeling of working with a man who's so passionate about his work, and very few of those artists actually received and saw that kind of success within the industry. KK was one of them.
KK has spoken to me back in 2007 the same way he spoke to me 10 years ago. There was no change in the level of respect and love. And that was what KK was all about. It didn't really matter whether you were a newcomer or someone who's established. For him, you were just a human being that needed to be spoken with love and respect. And that's something we should all learn from, actually. Yes.
We'd really like you to elaborate a tiny bit of you sharing your work experience with KK. How did you see him as a person personally? You know, for us as an audience, first of all, this is a personal loss because his music has resonated among different age groups across generations, and will possibly stay as an anthem lifelong. Anything to do with friendship, anything to do with love, KK's music will really be the first go-to for most of us. And that's the sentiment I see here in my news office as well. I'm sure you know the kind of crazy fan following KK had. While we all know what his on-screen persona was, did you get an insight into who he was in private?
Like I said, he was someone who was a thorough gentleman, someone who was someone who could observe a small thing, like he was supposed to go for a concert in Amsterdam, and I think he had noticed that I was wearing a jacket which was very light, and he observed that and he said, Shilpa, you need to get a thicker jacket because you won't be able to survive that cold. It was my first concert there outside of India, and for someone to notice something as basic and small, it was what he was, and whatever you hear, his voice, it comes from a very true place because of the human being that he was. And I'm just right now thinking about his family. I cannot even fathom to begin to even imagine what they must be going through, and all our prayers for his family right now. Yes.
Shilpa, at this point, all the music that we hear of KK, each one of them, almost every single song, we're so clear of the lyrics. It was so simple, so heart-touching, and the way he sang, the variations that he gave to that music, barely any artist or singer in the past managed to do that successfully. KK was almost a breath of fresh air post singers like Kumar Sanu and a few others. He came in with a younger voice, infusing that kind of freshness into the industry, became an instant hit among many heroes as he was a playback singer. who was in popular demand for directors and producers, wanting KK itself to be the voice of their heroes, most of their films. What really made KK stand apart from the rest with his music?
He was of what he was inside and what came across in his voice. He was the same human being. I feel that everyone asks singers this question: where do you find that emotion in your voice? And the only answer I can give is that you can only find that emotion if you feel. Over here, you can't think. And that was what KK was. He would feel the song and express it. And that is why he was what he sounded like. So, yeah.
Shilpa, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. And we know that you seem quite upset. KK certainly touched hearts. He was such a stellar musician, and his sheer work, compassion in what he did, passion towards his music itself got him to taste success that very few artists in the industry managed to see. And this untimely death leaves us certainly torn apart, heartbroken to see the man who we all associate with go so soon. This certainly is a personal loss.